Welcome back to another episode of the One Tribe podcast, guys. This is Coach Naka. In the sports edition, in the sports lounge, we are set for a massive weekend of fight cards across from boxing all the way to the UFC. I am looking forward to this Sunday. What an amazing weekend, as I said, in fights. So starting off with my main fight, the one I'm looking forward to, Canelo Vs Plant. The middleweight undisputed champion of the world will be crowned this weekend. Let's have a look at what Caleb Plant can bring to the table. Now, Caleb Plant is a dangerous fight for anybody. His slick style, his movement, his speed, it's all a problem for most boxers. Now, where has Canelo Alvarez had problems in the past? He has had problems with fighters who move. He loves to walk opponents down, right? So we know this. In all these fights, he's a patient boxer. He walks them down, picks them apart. Now, Caleb's movement, his lateral movement, his speed, his footwork are all going to cause Canelo problems. How much problem? We are yet to see. Now, in terms of punching power, I do not think Caleb Plant has the punching power to knock Canelo Alvarez out or hurt Canelo Alvarez. But at the same time, Alexander Lara gave Canelo problems but didn't capitalize on this because he moved very well. He had the same sort of boxing style to Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant, if not, has better hands. But Lara did give a young Canelo, mind you, some problems because he moved around that ring for 12 rounds. Now, the only reason that Lara didn't score high in that fight because he didn't really push the action. It was really Canelo trying to instigate the fight for the 12 rounds, and Lara was sort of caught running. He didn't really throw or, put his punch rate too high in that fight. So this is why Canelo pulled a decision at the end of 12 rounds on that fight. But, there's a title on the line. There's the undisputed middleweight championship on the line here, the king. So, I feel like Caleb Plant, if he boxes smart and he boxes in terms of movement, speed, in and out, he's able to give Canelo some problems. But how long for? I really feel like every fight, Canelo only gets better. He is really, really turned into like a Floyd Mayweather style fighter when I say in terms of downloading data on his fighter. This guy will basically, be patient for 5 to 6 rounds, and then he starts picking up the pace, and he's sort of worked out his opponent halfway, and then you usually see a finish between rounds, 7 or 8, or even earlier, you know what I mean? So, we all thought Billy Joe was a slick boxer, and he is a slick boxer in his own right, but even after 6, 7 rounds, Canelo just started to push the pace. The power was obviously too much for Billy Joe to handle, and we saw how that ended, right? So, he shattered his orbital bone with an uppercut that he was like literally searching for like 3 rounds, and he finally caught him with it. So, look, I believe the first 6 rounds of this fight will be a chess match, but unfortunately for Caleb Plant, I do see him falling victim to, a powerful boxer in Canelo Alvarez. And, I'm going to put a prediction on it. Round 7, this finishes up with a KO. So I think Canelo is going to get him out of there. And it's going to be in round 7. And that's my prediction. I think this guy will remain unbeaten apart from the Mayweather loss, but from that to now, I think he remains unbeaten. We've seen what he's able to do in a higher weight category, and even at the middleweight, he's cleaned out the division. I just don't think anybody beats this guy while he still is boxing. So that's my prediction for the Caleb Plant fight. Now let's move on to the UFC. UFC has an absolute stacked card on Sunday. Let's go to Usman versus Colby Covington. Now, the animosity in this fight is real. Obviously, after their first meetup, They, that was a war in its own right. There was a few things here or there in terms of, the eye poke, the groin kick. If you look at that replay and how they've sold it on the UFC pre-fight, did Usman use those as an excuse to get some rest and whatnot? But look, you can't put it past the guy. He did break the jaw of Colby Covington, and that was a war. That was a dogfight. Those two literally punched the shit out of each other until one fell, and that happened to be Covington, to the hands of the Nigerian Nightmare. So, are we going to see that in the second installment? I think so. Colby Covington's got nothing to lose. He has everything to gain, and he has a title there waiting if he is able to put this together. I think Usman has just gotten better and better with every fight. Obviously, we saw what he did to George, the Street Jesus Masvidal. He KO'd him with one shot. And that guy has never supposedly been KO'd or dropped or stopped in a fight. And he was able to just get him out there with one powerful shot and basically fold him in half. So that was a statement, if ever I've seen one. And I just think this guy, just, with his background, his power, it's going to be an absolute war of a fight. It's a pick 'em fight for me, honestly, just after the last one. If Covington is able to keep his head on during the fight, not fight with his heart, maybe he gets it done in a 5-round decision. But my prediction for this fight will be, I won't sit on the fence. I'm going to say that Kamaru Usman finishes him in round 5. And it'll be on the ground via ground and pound. These two are just going to go for it, and it's going to be a war. Now, there's another huge fight, and forgive me for forgetting her name, but Thug Rose is fighting the young Chinese girl. She's an absolute animal, fights like a dog. They both do. That's going to be a huge fight as well. So that's one to watch out for. That, again, another pick'em fight. The last time they met, that was a war, but Rose basically kicked her head off and KO'd her with a head kick. But, let's see what happens. And then, again, on the same fight night is another big fight with Justin Gaethje versus, and again, pardon me, the American dude who is an absolute animal in his own right, but he did have a loss coming in after just basically his first year in the UFC from another fight promotion. So, again, forgive me, guys, for losing his name off the top of my head, but young American fighter who's an absolute animal as well. So, it's a massive fight card. It's a massive weekend of fights, starting with the boxing and moving to the UFC. So, if you can catch them both, they're on the same day. Good luck to you, but I know I'll be tuning into Canelo Plant first, and then the rest to follow. If I have to watch them on the replay, so be it. But, I'll leave it there. This is another episode of the One Tribe Podcast Sports Edition with Coach Naka. And, coming up, tomorrow we're actually throwing down a awesome podcast with a special guest. So make sure you tune into that one when it's up on all platforms. And guys, thanks for tuning in and listening and supporting. And I hope you guys enjoy the weekend of fights. Let me know what your thoughts are and who you've got. Leave your comments in the section. And let's go, baby. The One Tribe Podcast over and out.